think that that's well, we got gonna make it today. So hopefully it looks like, you know, what we got. Code. Uh, Other computer. It is classes we we're doing. We're gonna make. We give you. I'm not. The card. Well, yes. Uh, two the place best the NFC best guys team. These guys. Let's start off California. 9. Fans tell you, but I can't. Not. I think in their flip a one could be. So you're probably going to do right. The art. That's right. A terrible game is a point. Chances, but I believe Seattle into this and first place. I don't know. Oh my! Oh my! We're talking about to this. Have audio now. Yes. How do you like that? How do you like that? Yeah. Do we have audio now? Yes, we have audio now. Oh, great. I can't make this up. Let's start over from the beginning. Today is Friday the 13th, and that's probably the reason why we've had so many technical difficulties going in to this show. One computer burnt down, the other computer went on the blink. It is still updates, and it has been for the last hour and a half. This is the NFL weekend, NFL preview of the wild card that is happening this weekend. And I'm sure you guys are waiting with bated breath now that you finally have audio and you can hear me talk. So let's get right to it. Let's get right to it, okay, guys? Here we go. The Seattle Seahawks will travel to Northern California to battle The San Francisco 49ers. Yes. They're going to battle the San Francisco 49ers. And much to their avail, they will more than likely lose. I think the odds on this one is that San Francisco is a 9.5 favorite, at least. Okay. And, I'm sorry to tell you this, Seattle fans, that you just got into the playoffs. Your team just got into the playoffs so that they could go home. But more than likely, I say don't bet anything on this game, Seattle fans. Don't bet on Seattle if you bet. And I don't recommend betting at all anyway. Okay. So let's just get to this. Don't bet on the game. Okay. Um, the odds are against you in so many ways. Okay. First of all, Seattle's, you made it. Okay. Let's give you some props. Let's give you some props. Okay. Seattle, at one time, you were in first place in the division. I think 6 games into the season, you were in first place. And then you went over to Germany and played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you lost. And now, remember now, the Seahawks are a bird. No, let's imagine a bird. You're flying, you got blue skies, everything looks good. The waves are nice and even, and the wind is just gently blowing. The Seahawks are just flying. They are on the go. And then they went over to Germany and lost. And all of a sudden, they were being buffeted by the winds. Yes, they were being buffeted by the winds. They were being uh, pelted by rain and sleet, and the skies went dark, and the clouds went, from puffy and welcoming to dark and foreboding. And Seattle Seahawks couldn't find their way. But thanks to having the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams in the division, which is almost a guarantee, which was like a guaranteed 4 wins this season, they managed to climb themselves back into the playoffs by the skin of their teeth, if there is such a thing. And there's no such thing as the skin of the teeth. They just barely made it. But here's the deal. You made it just to go home. It's not going to really matter too much. Sorry to give you bad news, but you made it. But at least you found blue skies. You made it in there. Number one, the San Francisco 49ers are a juggernaut. They are a juggernaut of a team. They are right there with Philadelphia and Kansas City and Buffalo and the Bengals as the best teams in the NFL. So anybody who's playing against these two teams are in big trouble. Number one, trouble. Trouble with a capital T. So, juggernaut of a team. Now, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a new guy. He's a rookie. And he's new to the playoffs. And, okay, maybe you can rattle him. And maybe, okay, Geno Smith compared against Brock Purdy. Maybe Geno Smith is the better quarterback at this time. But that's the only position that the Seahawks can win at. In every other position, they are going to get killed. So Brock Purdy, I believe he's on par. And you hate to say that because Geno Smith is a veteran, but he is somewhat on par with Geno Smith. And other than that, okay, Seattle, you don't match up. The 49ers offense with Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuels. Okay. Are you kidding me? I mean, McCaffrey is an all-purpose back. Ayuk and Samuels can not only catch the ball, make tough catches, they can run for chunks of yardage after they catch the ball. And then they have one of the best tight ends, if not the best, in George Kittles. That's right, George Kittles is the tight end. They got all-world blocking up front, so Purdy should be okay. And if that wasn't bad enough for Seattle, the 49ers defense is rated number 1 in the league. Number one. So, sorry, Seattle fans, to give you bad news. What I would suggest is that you just sit back, enjoy the game, and listen, definitely don't bet on it. There is an 8-15. Okay, listen, what game? That is the 4 o'clock. That is the 1 o'clock game at 8:15. 8:15. There's an 8:15 game tomorrow because we have two games tomorrow: the Seahawks versus the 49ers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, it's the Chargers that have to travel across the country to Jacksonville. It might make a difference. It might not. Listen, and this game's been up and down. Okay. At one point, the Chargers were favorites, and then the Jags became favorites because they had home field advantage, and then it became even. And now I believe the Chargers are favored again. In other words, it's a pick 'em. Listen, you got two of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert, two of the best quarterbacks. But other than that, you really don't have much to talk about with these teams, right? I mean, the offenses are not anything that scares you. They're not jumping out at you. They're not overpowering. There's nobody you say, oh, wow, you have to worry about this running back or this wide receiver or this tight end and bada boom. No, nothing like that. And our defense is pretty much the same. There's nothing that jumps out at you about any of these two defenses. So you're left wondering what's going to happen. I mean, Lawrence and Herbert can't pass the ball and catch the balls themselves. They're only good at passing the ball. Somebody's got to catch it and make something happen. And who is going to do that for either of these two teams? Nobody knows yet. And therein lies the problem. What's going to happen? And that's the reason why this game is fluctuating. I am going to give this game to the Chargers. I believe this. Okay, here's my reasoning. My reasoning is this. Because the Chargers have shown that they can kick into a high-powered offense when they are faced with a team that is trying to run away from them. The only problem is that probably Jacksonville is not going to be running away. So the Chargers generally play like the other team plays and then try to get it out at the end. I'm going to say that the Chargers charge to a win at the end. How's that? The Chargers charge to the win. Yes, pun intended. You got to give something to these teams in the wild card. These two are kind of like the bottom tier teams that have made the playoffs. But let's move on. Beginning on Sunday is when the fun begins. Yes, beginning on Sunday. Sunday, we have the Miami Dolphins traveling to New York, upstate New York, somewhere where the Canadian border is. That's right. Buffalo borders the Canadian border. Remember, waterfalls. Yeah. Niagara Falls. Yeah, right there in Buffalo. And they will play the Buffalo Bills. Miami's going to take on the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo on Sunday at 1, somewhere way upstate in close to the Canadian border. Now, I say that because to give you an image of cold and snow in Miami, which is a fair weather team. Yeah, I think that's being extreme. Yeah, and they're very fair weather. I mean, that's being nice to them. They're very fair weather, 70, 80 degrees all the time in Miami. In the summertime, it's going to be close to 100. But even in the wintertime, it's going to be, it's going to be at 70 to 85 every day. In between there, every day. It's going to go up into there. So Miami has to travel to upstate New York to play Buffalo. And can they do it? Well, lucky for them. And the only thing they got going for them in this game is that it is supposed to be a fairly mild day for January in Buffalo with a high of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it shouldn't be that bad. It won't be like killer cold. It won't be like snow and ice and sleet and, below freezing temperatures for the most part. And they should be able to handle it. But that's the only thing, okay? And I'm sorry to tell you this, Miami, you're in a hole in this one. Flipper, I can't make the flipper noise, but you Dolphin fans, you Flipper fans, I don't know if you really want to watch this. But maybe you like gore and blood and guts being thrown all over the place, because that's what I expect. Buffalo's offense is unstoppable. Yeah, with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Gabriel. I mean, these guys, they got three receivers that can really make hay if hay could be made. But what I'm saying is that they can make a lot of trouble for your defense. And they settled upon a running back who was actually running well. And then you have Josh Allen. I mean, the guy can flick a ball 70 yards. Okay, so Buffalo's offense is too too high powered for Miami's defense. Now, Miami's only hope is if they could stay up with them, but they have good receivers. But here's the bad news again. Tua Tags is out. Tua Tagla Viola is out in concussion protocol, so he won't make the game. No, he won't suit up. He won't be there. He probably won't even be there. That's right. Probably won't even be there. He probably is just going to be in Miami, recuperating and resting. Shouldn't even make the trip. That being said, I think Teddy Bridgewater is still hurt, which means, from what I've heard, they're going to start their third string quarterback, Skylar Thompson. Yep, their hopes depend on Skylar Thompson. Uh-huh. Yep, Miami's hopes depend on Skylar Thompson. Well, I got news for you. Buffalo's defense is getting back to full strength. They won't have Von Miller back, but they got Micah Hyde back. And it seems like the majority of the defensive guys are back. And that spells bad news for the Dolphins, for Flipper. That's right. We're going to find some Dolphins in the tuna can after this game is over. Sorry about that, Dolphin fans. But you made the playoffs. Now, let's move on to the 4:30 game on Saturday. The 4:30 game has the New York Giants against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, what I'm perplexed about is that Minnesota is only 2.5 favorites over the Giants. And the Giants haven't shown me anything in the past 8 weeks. As a matter of fact, I think they've lost. Well, gosh, there was a period of time where they had lost 4 or 5 straight. And Minnesota has looked like daggers, like certified against a lot of these teams. They had a little letdown at the end, but who wouldn't? I mean, they had only won the division. They didn't have to go all out. They didn't have to. They didn't have to put their best out there. They just had to make it to the end, not get anybody hurt, not get anybody injured, and make it to the end, which is what they've done. And that being said, they're playing in Minnesota. So they're playing in Minnesota. They're not traveling. They're playing right there in their own dome. They don't even have to leave their house. Basically, they have to leave their house, but they're right there. They're in familiar territory. So I don't see why Minnesota's only a 2.5 favorite. I mean, something happened with the Giants. Like, is Eli Manning or Michael Strahan coming back? Are they? I mean, not that they'd be much good right now, but let's say they were in their prime. That'd be the only way that I see you could say that, Minnesota would be in trouble. No. I mean, do the odds maker know something that we don't? Is somebody hurt on the Vikings? Well, okay. Well, Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones will be out there for the Giants, and I expect Minnesota to go through them like a hot knife going through butter. In the 8:15 game on Sunday, it pits the Baltimore Ravens against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, poor Baltimore, quote the Raven, nevermore, which would be after this game. They won't be playing anymore. Okay, that's quoting Edgar Allan Poe. Quote the Raven, nevermore. Baltimore, okay, everything went wrong for them. It was going good. And then they went for a 4th and 1, something to that extent, back in game 6 or 7 of the season, because they were flying high. They were on top. They were in first place. And after that, when they didn't get it and they lost that game, everything started going wrong and culminated with Lamar Jackson going out with an injury, I think in week 13. There were still 5 more games to go. Okay, but the Bengals, they're healthy and they're in the groove, and the Ravens are not. The Bengals have won their last 8. The Ravens have lost 4 of their last 5. With no Lamar Jackson, the Ravens are going to play or have to start Tyler Huntley, who has not looked good. And I don't suspect that he's going to look any better going into the playoffs against a Bengals team that is steady and methodical and disciplined. I think more than anything else, it's what I've noticed this year. This is a very disciplined team on offense and defense. They play the margins, they play the angles. They come out there and they give 100%. You're going to get a good game from the Bengals for the most. I think they've only had a couple of hiccups. Other than that, they've grinded every game out, taken it over, and won it. And I expect them to do the same in this game also. Now, the Monday night game. Yes, there's a Monday night. Yeah, we've had Saturday, Sunday, and now there's a Monday night. Now you're saying to yourself, are you kidding me? Monday night? Yes, Monday night. Because the NFL and their benevolence, creativity, and humanity, yes, have given us a Monday night game. And it pits America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, going up against Tom Brady, who is Captain America. So going up against Captain America, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. Well, Dallas has not won a road playoff game in 30 years. Not since 1992. Yep. Have they won a playoff road game? 30 years. Of course, they've not been that good for the past 30 years, but they've had Tony Romo and they've had Dak Prescott, and they still didn't win. Now, usually when we talk about Dak Prescott and pressure, those are two things that don't go well together. Whenever there's been a pressure game that Dak Prescott has been in, to my memory, the Cowboys have lost. He doesn't handle pressure well. He tied with the season in most interceptions, and I don't even think those were under pressure. Those are just things he just threw up for the most part. So pressure and Dak Prescott generally do not mix. So you would expect me to pick the Dallas Cowboys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. Wrong, and I will tell you why. Even though they haven't won a road game in 30 years, even though pressure and Dak Prescott do not mix very well, Tampa Bay has Todd Bowles as their head coach. And anything that can happen bad will happen when Todd Bowles is your coach, because he can't lead a hungry man to a restaurant. Here's a guy who gives his team no motivation to win whatsoever. I don't know about the X's and O's. Doesn't seem like he does too well there either. There's no coordination between the whole team. The kickoff team, the special teams are bad. The defense, they try to say the defense is good. It's not good. Okay? They're mediocre. They played a lot of bad teams. They played a lot of offensively challenged teams this year. The Panthers, the Steelers, the Saints, the Falcons, a lot of offensively challenged teams. And supposedly they have a good defense, but they don't. Good teams have come in and shredded this defense the way a hot knife goes through butter very easily. So they don't really have that much on defense. And the offense has looked so boring. And instead of going for it on fourth downs, Bowles has this idea that their kicker, Suckup, who doesn't kick well past 50 yards, is somehow going to grow a new leg and start kicking well after 50 yards. No, he's not. He's not going to do it. He's a 50-yard and in guy. Now, 50 yards and out, it's not his strong suit. He's not going to make that. So why even go for the field goal when you know that's the case? You have to go for 4. So it's things like this that continually go on as Todd Bowles as the coach. And because of that, Tampa Bay is going nowhere, and they're going nowhere fast. Not even the greatest quarterback of all time, Captain America, Tom Brady, who made Bill Belichick look good. And we see what Bill Belichick is like without Tom Brady. He made Bill Belichick look good. He won Super Bowls for Bill Belichick. He won a Super Bowl for Bruce Arians. Not even Tom Brady can make Todd Bowles look good. That being said, I'm picking Dallas. Yeah, I know. Tampa Bay fan here, but it's probably going to be more of the same of what we saw the majority of the year when it comes to Tampa Bay. Okay, they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Hopefully, at the end, Tom Brady will come back and get him in, but we'll see. We'll see. If not, if I'm right, this is Tom. This is probably Tom Brady's last game as a Buccaneer. He gave a lot of himself there. He went down there and he won them a Super Bowl and he kept them in contention. As a matter of fact, they won the division this year. Not that they should have, but the whole time that Tom Brady was there, this organization has made out pretty darn good. And I can't really say that the fans appreciate him because here's the deal. He came down there and won, and they always felt like, well, it's Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. They couldn't get over themselves. They couldn't get over the fact that they had a winning quarterback. They had a winning franchise. They had a winning team. To them, it galled them that it was Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I got news for you. You need to get over yourselves because really, it's Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Jalen Hurts. That's right, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. If you have a star quarterback, it is your quarterback that's getting you over the hump. And ask a coach who doesn't have one how important that is. If it's the last game, Tom Brady, you did well in Tampa Bay. I hope you got about 2 or 3 more seasons than you. I hope to see you in Miami. Because Miami, on the other hand, is ready to accept a winner. And that is the end of my NFL preview for the Wild Card weekend. I had a ball being here. Despite everything, it just makes it even better and even sweeter to actually get the job done when there are obstacles in the way. And I hope I've inspired you to get the job done. Remember, number one, sports fans, number one, you are the number one person in sports. Take care of yourself. Make sure you're looking after you. Okay? Sports is fun. Us guys, we love it. And when your team wins, there's an extra pep in your step. You feel better. Okay? You feel stronger. You feel lighter. You can go longer in anything that you do because your team won. But always remember, you are the most important person in sports. And if you can feel that way for your team, you should be feeling that way for you all the time. Be good to your loved ones. Give those you love a kiss if you can, if they'll let you. Tell them you love them if they'll let you. And with that, I say, adios, arrivederci, au revoir, vaya con Dios, and goodbye, everybody. Thanks for being here.